Good morning. Welcome, Roomers and Zoomers, to Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Steve Morihiro, and it is my pleasure to be your worship associate today. Beth Syverson, our Director of Music Ministries, is off today. In her absence, we already heard beautiful prelude music from Susan Shaw. Thank you, Susan. In addition, Amy Tompkins and Phil Chipman will be joining Susan to lead our music this morning. Karen Magoon Pearson, our Director of Religious Education, is holding classes for our children and youth at Estancia Park this summer. Our minister, the Reverend Sean Wilshire, is not in the pulpit today, but she has a special message for you.
Hello, Roomers and Zoomers. So I'm away this week, but my spirit is with you. For those of you who are new to the church, maybe you're just checking us out or curious about Unitarian Universalism, welcome. Glad you're here. You are in for a treat. This is a wonderful, friendly, fabulous, just all-around spectacular community. I hope you can get to know them, because it can be kind of tough to get to know a new community. But here's the thing, just hang in there, join in one of the activities, and before long, you'll get to know people, and then this becomes your church. Well, today we've planned a wonderful service for you, just blending music and word to bring together a helpful and hope-filled message. We hope it will feed your soul. So without further ado, let's go.
This morning, we are delighted to have oncology chaplain and popular guest speaker, Michael Eselun, joining us again. Michael has been a regular guest with us over the past several years. Michael Eselun serves as the chaplain for the Sims-Mann UCLA Center for Integrative Oncology. A two-time TEDx speaker, Michael speaks extensively to healthcare professionals, patient populations, and faith communities across the country. He's also worked as an activist and educator, addressing anti-LGBTQ bias in the larger community for over 30 years. Michael was recently inducted into the UCLA Semel Institute Eudaimonias Society in recognition of having lived a meaning-driven life. He has 4 volumes of CDs available for purchase. If you'd like to purchase a CD, Michael will be out in our courtyard out here after the service. Or for the Zoomers, you can contact Michael through his website, www.michaeleselun.com. We would like to recognize the many volunteers who have helped to put this service together today. You can see their names on the screen. Let us respectfully recognize that our church property rests on a Hashimen and Tongva land. As Unitarian Universalists, we have many different beliefs, but we are one loving community. We are bound together not by a common set of rules or beliefs, but rather a covenant. A covenant is simply a promise that whatever our beliefs, we encourage each other in spiritual growth. We affirm that all life has inherent value and that all existence is interconnected. We strive for justice and compassion in our deeds and relationships, and we are committed to creating a welcoming community without regard to the traits that sometimes divide people. Zoomers, I invite you to say hello in the chat. Roomers, we prefer not to know when somebody is trying to chat with you, so I invite you to please silence your cell phones. Additionally, I'd like to remind the Roomers not to sing or hum along with our music leaders, even though you see the lyrics on the screen. For the Roomers, the lyrics are there for contemplation. Roomers can instead sway to the music. Zoomers, on the other hand, can sing to your heart's content. We will let you know in the future when we can all sing again during service. If any of our Roomers would like to share a joy or sorrow, or if you would like us to just light a candle for you, please fill out a slip that we handed to you and place it in one of the baskets between now and the offertory. During the offertory musical selection that Amy, Susan, and Phil will be performing, the ushers will be picking up the joys and sorrow slips from the basket. I want to extend a special welcome to visitors. If you are seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you will find it here. Later in the service, we will provide you with an opportunity to introduce yourself if you'd like to do so. After the service, we will be placing the Zoomers who remain into Zoom breakout rooms for 20 minutes of coffee and conversation. Everyone is welcome to participate, and it's a great way to get to know people in the congregation. As we come together in community, we are very aware of all of which we have had to let go. As we light our chalice, which represents the chalice of our community, and say our unison affirmation, we are mindful of this sacred time of coming together on our shared journey of discovery. Discovery of that which remains essential after we have had to let go of so much. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. This we affirm together.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to invite the Zoomers to sing along with the words on the screen, and the roomers may lovingly sway, along with our opening song, In My Quiet Sorrow. Please rise in body or spirit. I am worn, I am tired, in my quiet sorrow. Hopelessness will not let me be. Help me. I won't speak of this ache. Inside light eludes me. In the silence of my heart, I'm praying. I keep on day by day, trusting light will guide me. Will you be with me through this time, holding me? You're my hope when I fear, holding on, believing. Deep inside I pray I'm strong. Blessed be.
Good morning. As a call to worship this morning, I'd like to offer these words from Richard Rohr. How am I ready to surrender? I believe profoundly in the necessity of surrender, but I don't think we can chart its course ahead of time. Our own private salvation projects seldom do the job. Surrender is something that is done to us more than something we do ourselves. In Joseph Campbell's book on the hero's journey, he says that the only way to be a hero is to prepare and be ready for when the moment comes. You might say that is the point of all spirituality. Someone else must determine the timing, the circumstances, the shape of the ordeal. None of us can engineer our own transformation, or it would not be transformation at all, but merely cosmetic surgery to make us think well of ourselves. You can't choose ahead of time which dragon you will slay or how you will slay it. It will probably slay you. So just make sure you are well practiced in dying. As a reading this morning, I'd like to offer this beautiful poem by Mary Oliver called In Blackwater Woods. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds, and every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this. The fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do these three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go. I invite us to move into a time of quiet reflection and contemplation. Perhaps you'd like to close your eyes and get comfortable in your seats. As we breathe a few nice deep breaths together, we quiet our minds and we let go of the concerns of the day, of the week behind us and the week ahead of us, and we simply follow the empty breath. Richard Rohr asserts his belief in the necessity of surrender, of letting go. As we move gently into our communal silence, we also move into a space of surrender to that which is beyond our control, and we open ourselves to a peace that just may be there waiting for us. And we open ourselves to a peace that just may be there waiting for us.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
The well-known Buddhist author and teacher Pema Chodron offers us this in her book, When Things Fall Apart. I used to have a sign pinned to my wall that read, "Only to the extent that we expose ourselves over and over to annihilation can that which is indestructible be found in us." It was all about letting go of everything. I invite you to think about 4 or 5 things that make you who you are. That if anyone is going to know you at all, they're going to know these 4 or 5 things about you. That you're a gifted athlete, a talented artist, that you're passionate about politics or your faith community, you're a devoted parent or grandparent. Perhaps you're known for your beautiful physique and your great head of hair. That would be me. Imagine none of that is true anymore, or not in the same way. Who would you even be then? Is there an essential you who dwells beneath all those labels with which we might identify, under all those hats we might wear? What's more, is he or she worthy of love? Is he or she capable of giving love? As painful as it may be to entertain those questions, they do reflect a most profound spiritual journey through loss, toward essence, if you will, that which is indestructible within us. It's a journey that so many cancer patients must take in a compressed, accelerated kind of way, watching piece by piece of one's identity slowly slip away. If I'm no longer the super mom who never misses a soccer game or a birthday party, who would I even be then? Would I even still be the mom? The thing is, life affords us each that guarantee. We will all lose everything. Everything that we are, everything that we have, everything that we love. How do we make peace with that? Is it even possible? I sometimes wonder if one measure of living a successful life lies within our capacity to come to peace with the inevitability of loss. What's more, might that peace even be a kind of gift, a kind of blessing, giving us a glimpse every now and then into that which is indestructible? The Buddhists would caution us to be well practiced at letting go, that holding on, clinging, grasping are surefire pathways to suffering. As an example, we only have to look at how so many of us have been coping with this unfolding pandemic. How long is this going to last? When do we get my life back? I just want my life back to normal. I'm an avid swimmer. I swim every day. I remember March 16th last year, 2020, my gym announced that because of the virus, they would be closing for up to 2 weeks. 2 weeks? I can't live without the pool for 2 weeks. Oh, really? Just wait. I hear similar sentiments sometimes from newly diagnosed cancer patients. Can't we just go back to 6 weeks before this all started? There's a kind of paradox, I think, that while, yes, holding on does cause suffering, I find there's also life force in it, in the yearning, in the longing, in the reaching. Chemo infusion clinics are filled with folks who have signed up for guaranteed suffering for the possibility of more time, more life. Universities are filled with students investing in, striving for, creating a future. When we're young, the future is almost a member of the family. It's a character in our own biography. Look at how much attention and intention we invest in the future. It shapes almost every decision we ever make, every choice. As we get older, possibility diminishes, right along with the future, and the past becomes a far richer member of the family. Memories, stories that might soothe us, bring us peace, or stories that might just as soon haunt us, but either way, stories that offer the possibility of meaning. In the saddest irony, some of us will even lose those in time. How do we make peace with that? Is it even possible to find meaning in all that we will lose? I am not so arrogant as to think I have any answers at all. What I have are stories, both my own and those of countless patients I've walked beside, patients whom I would just as soon call my teachers. And I also have a growing faith at this stage of my life that drawing closer toward any paradox and holding this space for two competing realities to be true might just offer a pathway to peace, if not wisdom. April was a great gal. Mid-40s, vibrant, professional wife, mom, 2 great kids. She had this exceedingly rare, exceedingly lethal cancer diagnosis that also happened to be horribly disfiguring. The doctors gave her that awful assessment, nothing more to be done. And she greeted that news with this kind of clarity and profundity. Michael, I'm dying. I know that, it's the truth. But you know what? It's only one truth of many truths. Her openness to that statement and her willingness for it to shape the remainder of her days was truly something to behold. There are those who cling so valiantly to those one or two aspects of one's identity that without them, life simply wouldn't be worth living. That clinging actually keeps them going. There's the passionate university professor who, by any reasonable measure, should never have been in a classroom, given how immunocompromised and weak she was. But even her oncologist saw the truth. I see that this is who you are. You're a teacher. So go teach. Just be careful, okay? I remember many years ago meeting a young mother in the hospital, maybe in her mid-30s, not long before she died. When I met her, she was busy writing a journal, writing letters to her then 11-year-old daughter to be read into the distant future. "Oh, that's so beautiful. What a perfect gesture," I said. "No, it's not," she said. "I'm just nagging her into the future." Still just being a mom to the very end. Sometimes it might even be an object that we cling to with such defiance as some remnant of some aspect of ourselves we just can't release. Maybe an old wedding dress, an army uniform, maybe an old ID badge from a long-gone career. Over the last few years of my mom's life, she was acutely aware that things would be wrapping up soon, and so she took to earnestly clearing out every drawer, cabinet, and closet, letting go so that we wouldn't have to. When death finally came, things had been pretty much sifted down to the bare essentials, except for boxes and boxes, acres and acres of family photos, cards, letters, old newspapers tattered with historic headlines, JFK assassinated, that sort of thing. That last Saturday that we were picking up what was left of my mom's life, I made a final pass through her bedroom closet, and in the darkness, high in the corner on the top shelf, I saw this old hat box. How had we missed that? I pulled it down and dusted it off and opened it. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was the hat. I felt this searing stab of grief and of amazement. The hat. Her Donna Reed hat, I called it. It had become legendary in my memory. She looked just like her when she wore it. It was a little pillbox covered with tiny champagne silk leaves, each one tipped with a tiny seed pearl. She bought the hat, I remember, to go with a light blue brocade suit that she would wear to her best friend Janet's second marriage at the Desert Inn in Las Vegas. Maybe 1962 or so. My mom was quite the glamorous dresser in her day. Earlier that afternoon, in fact, I came upon the photo of the wedding party in the original Desert Inn folder. There my mom and dad were, seated at the table, looking so handsome, so young, so beautiful. My mom there with a hat, the only one at the table with a hat. But the thing is, I also knew that under the table were the most stunning pair of pointed-toe gold lame stiletto heels. I had always been fascinated with my mom's high heels, obsessed, really, surreptitiously trying them on whenever she wasn't around. Even I knew better than to mess with those. But here it was, the hat, she had kept it for decades and decades and decades. After letting go and saying goodbye to everything and everybody else. Though we had reminisced often about those years, even about that outfit, she never let on that she had kept it. Why? Did she need it as some kind of touchstone, as proof that that time was real, that that part of her was still true, because that hat is still up there on the top shelf of the closet? Did she need it as some kind of souvenir that she just couldn't surrender of a certain aspect of herself? It leaves me to wonder, what object will I cling to for no sensible reason, as some placeholder for some version of myself I will always want to claim as a part of me? I don't know. What about you? David Foster Wallace says that everything I let go of has my claw marks on it. And there are those who adapt quite well to new identities, or even finding a new version of the old one. I had so many wonderful conversations with Randy over the last few years of his life. He was in his mid-50s, advanced colon cancer. Not long before he died, I was walking him out of the clinic, and we were still chatting when we got out into the hallway. And up walks another patient, gingerly making her way to the entrance of the clinic. She's on a walker. Randy says, "Just a minute, Michael." And he goes and he holds the door for her with a big smile on his face. "There you go, sweetheart." He comes back to me and he says, "You see, Michael, the way I see it, that's my job now, to be kind. That's what I do." Cancer had robbed him of an awful lot. He had had a very stressful career, commercial real estate, highly competitive and all that. It had taken away a lot of career opportunities, but it hadn't taken away that one, to be kind. It hadn't robbed him of that place to still find meaning. Kate, in her early 60s, was diagnosed with a recurrence of breast cancer, now stage 4. She was a spiritual seeker, an artist, a musician. She played cello in a local chamber orchestra. While raised an Episcopalian, she converted to Judaism much later in life, but not because of marriage or any such conventional reason, but because she said, "I love the humor in Judaism, and besides, there's no hell." She also loved the questioning nature inherent in Jewish study. Although any articulation about who or what is God, how does prayer work, what happens after we die, was simply left undefined, because she experienced her spirituality in community, playing music in community, praying in community. She didn't pray when she was alone. She also shared with me that she'd been a survivor of childhood sexual assault, an experience that left deep wounds, to be sure, but not the least of which was a crippling fear of dying. And the essence of that fear was, what if I just disappear? There it is, ultimate loss, disappearance. I asked Kate if she'd ever had what any of us might call a peak spiritual experience. "Oh yes," she said, "playing a big lush piece of music like Handel's Messiah. I got to play that once in Cleveland, full orchestra, chorus, the works. It was transcendent, Michael, to be in the center of the creation of all that music." Kate, you just told me that your biggest fear would be that you would disappear, and yet your peak spiritual experience was one in which you disappear, if you will, into the creation of that music. It couldn't possibly be about you and your cello. And yet without your cello, that music would not have been the same. What if dying is like that? What if the other side is like that, surrendering into this larger harmonic reality in which our individual voice is an inextricable piece of the whole? She exhaled into that. She sighed into that. Sometimes I think we need to summon our imagination to come up with new images and metaphors when we find ourselves immobilized by the fear of loss. I love to hike, and for decades I have made a nearly annual pilgrimage to Yosemite because there's one hike there that has simply given me my life back, more times than I can count. There's no simpler way to put it, oftentimes of great distress. I came upon such a time in my life about a dozen years ago. Devastation, really. Spiritual crisis, in fact, which I would define as a time of great loss. Everything I had believed and come to trust seemed to collapse right out from under me. And at first I thought maybe I ought to go to Yosemite, do your hike, try to climb out of it. But it just didn't feel right. And the more I thought, you know, you've always wanted to see the Grand Canyon, hike to the bottom. You're not getting any younger. What if instead of trying to climb out of this pain, you climb into it, into the earth, see what might be there for you? So that's what I did. For any of you who have made that descent, you know how staggering it is. And the wisdom that came to me was so clear, clean, concise. The Grand Canyon is only grand because of what's been lost, not because of one thing that's been added. One particle of soil at a time letting go, losing itself to the water over the span of 5 million years. One particle at a time, swept away by something so simple as water. Incomprehensible, really. I spent that night at the Phantom Ranch at the bottom of the canyon. It's a charming, historic, albeit Spartan compound, dormitory-like cabins, a communal dining room. That night, the lovely gentleman who served us dinner asked for our attention before we dug in. He wanted to offer a kind of invocation or blessing. My friends, I want to welcome you here, and I hope that while you're here, you take some time to be still and feel the power of this place, the majesty of it, the sacredness of it. It's like Jerusalem or Mecca for the native people. And he went on to say, and no matter how hard it was for you to climb down here today, climbing up tomorrow is going to be so much easier. Of course, there were incredulous groans from around the table. Yeah, right. And if not, he said, rejoice, rejoice, you got no choice. I love that. I come back to it again and again and again. Rejoice, rejoice, you got no choice. What if we are being carved out for our grandeur, hollowed out by loss, so that on our descent we might catch a glimpse every now and then of that which is indestructible within us? Sure, let's savor each vista, cherish each moment, hold on, you bet. But with an oh so light touch and a willingness at any moment to let go. Except perhaps for that one thing. So be it. Thank you.
When we are gone, they will remain. Wind and rock, fire and rain, they will remain when we return. The wind will blow and the fire will burn. When we are gone, they will remain. Wind and rock, fire and rain, they will remain when we return. The wind will blow and the fire will burn. When we are gone, they will remain. Wind and rock, fire and rain, they will remain when we return. The wind will blow and the fire will burn. When we are gone, they will remain. Wind and rock, fire and rain, they will remain when we return. The wind will blow and the fire will burn.
Unitarian Universalist congregations are fully self-supporting, meaning that members and friends raise all funds for the operating budget, ministries, and programs of the church. We are ever grateful for your gifts of time, treasure, and talent. OCUUC amplifies that spirit of generosity by sharing one half of the plate we receive with an organization that shares our values. Throughout this month of August, we have been supporting California Cultural Resources Preservation Alliance, Inc. Information about this organization is up on the screen, along with their mission statement, which is to protect and preserve cultural resources such as sacred sites, architectural sites, historic sites, and traditional cultural places in Southern California with a focus on Orange and Los Angeles counties. This organization was formed in 1998 in response to the destruction of a 9,000-year-old coastal village and cemetery to make way for a gated housing development here in Orange County. Please give generously to support this organization. There are multiple ways in which you can support the church and CCRPA. You can mail a check, or as shown in the slide, you can go through our website or use an app called Give Plus. If you are a roomer, you can place your offering in a basket as you leave the service today. The choice is yours. All the information is on our website should you need it. As always, thank you for your generosity.
To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rent, a time to sow, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late.
Zoomers, please join us in singing, and roomers, please sway along with We Gather Together, a song that puts our intentions into words and expresses our gratitude for the many gifts we share. We gather together, we gather as
Thank you. Let's all rise in body or spirit for just a second and take a deep breath. Thank you. Yeah, you can have a seat again. We just needed a little break there. Now is the time when we can honor the important events in our lives. You are invited, one and all, whether you are a member, friend, visitor, whether you are a roomer or a Zoomer, to participate in our weekly ritual of joys and sorrows. Perhaps you have come here today holding something close to your heart, moments from the last days or hours that have struck you at your core. If you'd like to honor such a profound joy or sorrow, you are invited to do so. I would also like to invite Jolene Ibanez up to the front to light the candles for you. If you are a roomer and haven't yet placed your joy or sorrow in a basket, you can do so now. An usher will pick up the basket in a moment. If you are a Zoomer, you can write your joy or sorrow in the chat, or simply write, "Please light a candle for me," if you prefer not to share any details. Let's take a few moments in a spirit of silence as Susan plays some music and the ushers retrieve the baskets. As I read each of these joys and sorrows out loud, Jolene will light a candle for you. Please hold each of these joys and sorrows in your heart, silently offering healing or celebration as you feel called and according to your own beliefs. Here in the room, Simone B. has a candle of joy, has a joy. I will be flying to Portland, Oregon on September 10th to visit with my 4 grandchildren, including baby Hayes, 4 months, and their parents. And on Zoom, we have Matthew P. sharing a sorrow, asking for a candle of sorrow, praying for a financial miracle at this time. I'm afraid that I'm going to fall behind on bills and my food stamps is being stopped because apparently they think I make too much. Ken A. has a candle of joy. Always a treasure to have Michael in the pulpit. Thanks. Marcia H. writes, my first 2 granddaughters left for college last week, one to the University of Tennessee, one to San Diego State University. Congratulations, Marcia. Yeah. Linda C. has asked for a candle of joy. It is a profound joy and love to share this service with our dear daughter, Valerie K. And Marilyn asks us to light a candle for her. Karen K. has a joy to share. Joy for the picnic yesterday. It was like a very long coffee hour, and I loved being able to chat with OCUUC friends to my heart's content. Patrick asks us to light a candle for him. Valerie Kay also asks us to light a candle. And Maria G. has a joy and a sorrow to share. My oldest daughter found a great apartment to move back to in San Diego. I hate to have her go, but I'm happy for her. Thank you for sharing your joys and sorrows. At this time, I would like to invite Jolynn up to the podium to read our pastoral prayer.
Spirit of life, known by many names, yet by no name fully known, we gather today with hopes and dreams, and also with fears and wounds. May we be reminded that all things come and go, that today's joys and today's sorrows will in time give way to those of tomorrow, and that those of us who have strength to share today ought to do so while we can, and that those who are in need ought to allow ourselves to receive, for tomorrow those roles might well be reversed. Spirit of life, Mother and Father of us all, help us to remember those who are not here with us today, those who need what we have found, and those who have what we here need. May we always be open to growth and change, to movement, to grace. In the name of all that is holy, and in all the holy names that have ever been uttered, and those that have not even yet been imagined, let us say, blessed be, shalom, and amen.
Let us join together as we extinguish the flame of our chalice and say, we extinguish our chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we hold in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you for joining us this morning. We are a congregation made up of people who all believe differently. And yet, when we gather together, whether we are in the room or on Zoom, we make up one loving community. We need not think alike to love alike. If you are a guest, a visitor, or someone who hasn't yet been known to us, I invite you to become a part of this beloved community. We encourage you to either write in the chat or stand, if you're here in the room, for a brief moment and tell us your name and where you are from. If you are here in Daniel's Hall, we will bring a microphone over to you and hold it for you. Please speak toward the microphone so that our Zoomers can hear your name and where you are from. Let's see. Okay. If you'd like to know more about our church, including programming for our youth and children, please contact us at hello@ocuuc.org and we will help you get connected. In addition, we invite you to sign up for our weekly email called The Blast at blast@ocuuc.org. We want everyone to feel a part of this beloved community, so please reach out and we will help you get connected. After the service, we will have a short period where everyone, roomers and Zoomers alike, can wave and say hello and welcome any visitors. The Zoomers who remain will be placed into Zoom breakout groups for 20 minutes. We invite you to check in and get to know the people in your group. Here are the announcements of meetings and activities that we have going on in the life of the church. Today at noon, we have a women's circle meeting in the Victoria Room and on Zoom. Next Saturday morning, August 28th at 9 o'clock, we're going to the beach. Children will be there, but all of us are invited. If you have questions, please reach out to Nina Smith. I'll turn the podium back over to you, Michael, for our benediction. Thank you.
I invite you to perhaps close your eyes if you feel so comfortable, and let's take a few nice deep breaths together. Breathing in the love, the intention, the commitment of this community to come together and connect despite all that there is now to separate us physically. As we exhale, can we release the light and the radiance of our coming together, not only back to one another, but to the larger circles of life? Let's even stretch our arms out now, right where you're sitting, and imagine our embrace of each other and those larger circles of life, getting a sense of our connectedness in a place beyond time and space, despite the physical isolation of this moment. As we breathe into that embrace, can we also embrace that part of us that really wished for something else, something other than what we've got? That part of us that does not want to let go. Can we extend tender compassion to that part of ourselves, even as life pulls much that we may love from our grasp? May we find peace in that delicate balance between holding on and letting go. So be it.
Roomers, please sway. Zoomers, please sing along with our music for dispersal. Be safe, be well, you mean the world to me. Be safe, be well, you mean the world to me. This service is over. Let our service continue.